Good evening and thank you for joining us on India Business Hour. I'm Parikshit Luthra and here are the headlines we are tracking at this hour. Market snaps its 4-day losing streak to start the week on a positive note. Nifty reclaims the 18,000 mark as all sectoral indices trade in the green except Nifty Pharma. The Sensex gained 721 points, the rupee ends stronger than Friday. The CBI gets additional 3 days custody of Chanda Kochar, her husband Deepak and Venugopal Dhoot in the ICICI Bank loan case. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that Dhoot has offered to turn an approver in the matter. Jet Airways sees exits among its rank as clouds of uncertainty hover over the airline's relaunch. While CEO and CFO continue to remain on reduced pay, senior management staff, pilots, cabin crew quit and join other airlines. That's an exclusive. Private equity investor Advent is set to acquire control of Suven Pharma from the selling promoters, who see this as a succession move. The 6,300 crore rupee deal opens up the possibility of Suven's merger with Cohance and triggers an open offer to existing shareholders. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman admitted to AIIMS with symptoms of viral fever. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the 63-year-old is recovering. Health Minister interacts with doctors, tells them that Indians have developed natural immunity due to the absence of a zero-COVID policy like China and high vaccination rate. Urges doctors to share only accurate information with the public. Less than 200 new COVID cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The government looks to reap fiscal positives as it allows the PM Kisan Anna Yojana to sunset. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the additional annual cost for distributing free food grains under the Food Security Act is hardly 0.1% of the GDP. This additional 20,000 to 25,000 crore cost is already included in the 2 lakh crore food subsidy estimate for calendar year 2023. Cold wave grips large parts of northern India, with the mercury dipping considerably in Delhi, Punjab, UP, Haryana and Rajasthan. The Met Department says that cold wave conditions will prevail over the next 2 days and then abate. On to the day's trading action. The Lal Street saw a strong bounce to snap its 4-day losing streak. Nifty and Sensex gained over 1%, with the Nifty reclaiming that 18,000 mark. Financials and mid-caps outperformed. All sectoral indices ended in the red except for Pharma. Prashant Nair is here with the market action. Prashant.
Very decent bounce coming in the market today. The Nifty on Friday lost 300 points. It gained back 200 of those points by close. It would have been even better, but in the last 30-40 minutes or so, the market gave back, on the Nifty, it gave back 80 points and, proportionately on the banks as well. But after 2 days of gut-wrenching kind of sell-offs, this is a good outcome that we've had today. Some stability coming back as we enter the last week of 2022. Broader markets also, which sold off very aggressively, came back forcefully. Decent kind of gain, 60-70% of Friday's losses recouped today. And banks, PSU banks, especially the public sector bank index from the December 14th high had lost 14%. In a single day today, it gained 7%. That was big. The private bank index did well. Metals as a space was up about 2% or so. Some nifty gainers on your screen: Indocent, SBI, Hindalco and more. In the broader markets, advance decline was extremely strong. Some 7 advances for every stock which was down. The gainers from the PSU Bank space, the private financial space, Yes Bank, Poonawalla, J&K. Defense names, especially Mazgaon, Garden Reach, Cochin Shipyard, Bharat Dynamics and so on and so forth. It's a good comeback after 2 days of ferocious selling. Let's see if we can hold this. Very little by way of global cues, mind you. US markets are shut today, later, so we come back with very thin global cues, but it's going to remain like that at least for the next fortnight or so. 18,050, which is very nearby, remains something to watch out for. The market starts to trade above that. We can aim and hope for higher levels, but that's the first one. The market needs to keep its head above. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Prashant, for joining us. Let's move on to the top corporate story that we continue to track here at CNBC. The Central Bureau of Investigation has received a 3-day custody of Videocon Group's chairman, VN Dhoot. ICICI Bank's former CEO, Chanda Kochar, and her husband, Deepak Kochar, will also remain in CBI custody for 3 more days. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that VN Dhoot has agreed to turn an approver for the CBI. Let me go across now to Santhya Gora, who's standing by with more details. Santhya, what really made the CBI go ahead and arrest all the 3 accused in this case 4 years after the FIR was filed?
See, Parikshit, that's a question which is not there, which is on everyone's mind, especially defense counsels, and that's exactly why, whether it was on Saturday or today, every single time defense counsels are asking this question to the CBI, that why after all these years these arrests are made. Now, how exactly public prosecutor has responded to it? He has to say that it was off late that the accused did not cooperate with the agency, so the agency did not have any other option but to place them under arrest. In fact, today, court also gave the investigating officer of the case an opportunity to enlighten the court about the status of the case. About that, investigating officer told the court that in December itself, on 16th of December, it was for the first time that all these 3 accused, they were summoned by the agency, but at that time, none of them came. Then after that, it was on 22nd of December that Venugopal Dhoot appeared before the agency, but at that time, coachers didn't. And then 23rd of December, coachers appeared before the CBI, but Venugopal Dhoot did not. The IO told the court that, and CBI needed all these 3 accused to be present in the office at the same time so that they could be confronted with each other. But because that didn't happen, so CBI did not have any other option but to arrest them. So this was the major ground for arrest claimed by CBI, Parikshit. That was the same thing which the agency told the court on Saturday as well, that it was non-cooperation on behalf of the coachers, that they had to place them under arrest. And for Dhoot also, today they said the same thing, that Venugopal Dhoot also was evasive. He was not appearing before the agency, and in fact some of the answers which he was giving were also not correct. Now there's another interesting thing which happened here, Parikshit. While arguing their case, defense counsels, they said that if we talk about the Kochar couple lawyer, they said that both Chanda Kochar and Deepak Kochar, they carried documents with them when they were summoned and asked to appear before the agency. In fact, Chanda Kochar carried a proper sheet of how the bank was functioning when she was at the helm of the bank. Deepak Kochar carried more than 2,000 pages document, but the agency did not accept those documents. Similar claims were made by Venugopal Dhoot's lawyer as well. To that, the defense CBI once again said that they were not cooperating. To that, defense said that if they were ready to appear before the agency, if they were bringing all these documents, how exactly the CBI, the agency can claim non-cooperation? But that's the main ground of arrest as far as the agency is concerned, Parikshit.
Right. Of course, the CBI would have to prove a lot in the case going forward. One, what was the new evidence that led to the arrest? Did Venugopal Dhoot, who has now offered himself as an approver, did he share anything with the CBI? And to what extent can the abuse of power be proved as well, considering all the decisions that Chanda Kochar took was as part of a committee, a sanctioning committee of the bank? So how will they show that decision was taken with everyone's consensus, and how she forced everyone to take that decision as well? Those are some of the things that the CBI will have to prove in the days to come. Thanks, Santhya, for joining us. Let's move on to the other big story we have been looking at. Private equity firm Advent is set to acquire controlling stake in Suven Pharma from the selling promoters, who see this as a succession move. The deal allows Advent to explore the merger of its portfolio co-hands with Suven Pharma. Ekta Batra joins us now. Ekta, take us through the contours of the deal.
Thanks for that. Well, yes, the big news is that Advent has entered into a share purchase agreement and they will be acquiring 50.1% stake in Suven Pharma for around 495 rupees per share, which turns out to be a deal size of around 6,300 odd crores. Now, the mode of payment for this particular acquisition is going to be cash. Now, the promoter group will continue to hold around 9.9% stake in the company after the deal. Advent will also launch an open offer. If it goes through entirely, they will hold 76% stake in the company. Reason for the stake sale is because the company has indicated they were unable to bring a proper succession plan in place. Venkat Justi's role post the deal, they're likely to stay on for a period of time. Suven Life, remember that's the R&D arm of Suven. They have no plans to fund Suven Life as of now, which is basically from the Suven Pharma funds. Suven Life, in fact, raised around 400 crores from the rights issue, and hence the company is well funded for 2 years. That's what Mr. Venkat Justi has indicated. Now, Advent's plans post the acquisition, they intend to explore a merger of its portfolio company Cohance Life with Suven. Aim will be to build basically a leading end-to-end CDMO as well as merchant API player. They will focus on servicing the pharma as well as the specialty chemical markets. Now, we did speak to Advent. A couple of key points is that Cohance's first half FY23 revenue is tracking similarly to what FY22 was, of around 1,300 odd crores, 28% margins. Combined margins would be around 30 odd %, and as of now, they're not considering delisting at this point.
All right, thanks Ekta Batra for joining us. On to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive now. As the relaunch of Jet Airways continues to remain uncertain, we learn from sources that the Jalan Calroc Consortium is having to say goodbye to some senior and mid-senior level employees, along with pilots and cabin crew. Madhiya Mujawar joins us with more. Madhiya, what's happening at Jet Airways?
Well, many factors at play here that explain why Jet Airways is seeing departure of employees even before the much talked about relaunch. Let me first begin with what sources have told CNBC TV18. Among the top exits, the Vice President of Engineering and the Vice President of Human Resources have exited Jet Airways. Besides other senior management, the Chief Executive Officer and Chief Financial Officer are working on slashed salaries. The Vice President of In-Flight Services has been sent on leave without pay. The company had kept pilots and cabin crew on standby for the relaunch, but we learned that many of these pilots and cabin crew have quit to join other airlines. Now, these were employees from the core team. Now, ever since the Jalan Calroc Consortium implemented the cost-cutting measures, some staff at the managerial and junior level who were either given pay cuts or sent on leave without pay have also quit the company. Sources tell us some mid-senior level employees currently working with Jet at a reduced salary or no pay at all are in the process of joining other airlines. Let me tell you, these developments are not surprising given the standoff between the Jalan Calroc Consortium and the lenders over the transfer of airlines ownership. Matters even got more complicated after the NCLAT order that directed the consortium to make additional payments for PF and gratuity of employees. So with payments not made, ownership not transferred, and employees losing patience, the future of Jet Airways 2.0 remains quite uncertain.
All right, thank you very much, Madhiya, for joining us with those important stories, especially about the exits from Jet Airways. Moving on, Tata Sons Chairman N. Chandrasekaran delivers his New Year message to employees of the conglomerate, says increasing consumption, consumer confidence and investment will support India's growth story, although the global environment has several risk factors. He said that the group experienced significant milestones in 2022, including welcoming Air India back. Added, the group will approach 2023 with a theme of sustainability. Focusing on the COVID situation in the country, India saw 190 new COVID infections, with active cases marginally increasing to a little over 3,400 in the last 24 hours. No new deaths have been reported so far. Meanwhile, Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia met doctors and representatives of the Indian Medical Association to take stock of the COVID situation in the country. And Abhimanyu Sharma joins us with more on what happened in that meeting. Abhimanyu, what are you learning from doctors, members of the Indian Medical Association who attended that meeting with the Health Minister?
The Union Health Minister today held a virtual meeting with prominent doctors from across India. He said that there was no reason to panic as of now, as the BF7 variant was already present in India and the non-existence of a zero COVID policy and a high vaccination rate had already ensured that a large section of the Indian population was immunized. However, he said that there was some need to exercise caution, observe social distancing as well as masking and following of COVID appropriate behavior. a mock drill is slated to be conducted across various hospitals tomorrow across the country, where the Union Health Minister and State Health Ministers will remain present to check for COVID preparedness. Also, the doctors who were present in the meeting were asked to clarify the official stand of the medical fraternity in order to ensure that there is no spread of fake information or fake news, and the minister stressed on the need to dispel any false news or information which is floating in the public domain.
All right, thanks Abhimanyu for reporting on that.